Good morning and
Good
welcome
morning.
to Radio Tiny House. I'm Barry Smith.
I'm Beth Smith.
This is my lovely wife we're going to be on a podcast, somebody else's podcast. We're going to be talking about us, which may be weird or fun. I don't know. I mean, you know.
Somebody saw our podcast and wanted to know how in the world we stayed married for so long. So that's what we're going to answer that question.
Are we, did we appear to them to be like unhappy or what?
No. That's not how I phrased it. That's how I phrased it.
We are very happy. This is, and I'm happy to be here with you.
Yes.
I love doing this with you. It's a lot of fun. We do this, try to do this every Tuesday.
Yes.
And get one out at least one a week.
Sometimes we get caught up. And
sometimes
Barry,
we get tangled in our technology.
Our technology tangles. And then Barry came up and heated the office for me because we've talked about this before. I have about 5 degrees of comfort.
Indeed.
So thank you for doing that. And now I'm warm and toasty. We put a new heater in here.
We
so
did.
That's helped.
We added a very quiet heater. It's on right now. It's called an Envy heater. And I guess it's kind of like a European heater. It's a convection. Is that it? It sucks in cold air from the bottom and puts nice toasty warm air out the top, but there's no motor, no fan, no nothing like that.
He won't let me have a fan.
So no, because
it's too noisy.
It sounds a little bit like a
freight train.
Yeah, a Phantom or a Tomcat warming up its engines in here when that thing's on. But anyway, welcome. Today we're doing something a little bit different on the podcast. We are going to talk about our house.
Yep. We're interviewing ourselves.
That's right. So that should be fun. But we've been in our house a while now, and people always ask what it's like to live in a Tuff Shed. People often comment about different things about Tuff Shed, that she's getting hand warmers out now. So her 5 degrees of warmth, her comfort are just kind of moving south now. So if you hear rattling in the background,
that means I'm getting my hand warmers out for my feet.
Not a rattlesnake. It's the hand warmers.
I'll be very quiet.
Yeah. So
sorry,
good or bad news this morning, depending on where you fall. Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow this morning. So 6 more weeks of winter.
That I fall in the no on that.
Yes, Beth falls in the no. Fruit trees, which we're hoping to have next year, we haven't done anything about that yet, would fall into the yes category because they have to have cooler temperatures to produce fruit.
Well, our neighbor's goats kept escaping when they first moved in. She's done better about keeping them intact, but we wouldn't have fruit trees this year anyway if we had planted them. They would have eaten them all.
Well,
we've already lost fig trees and blueberry
bushes. Yes, I'm not sure the fig tree is going to come back, but the blueberry bushes are already getting leaves on them again. So
good.
That should be good. It's been cold here.
Yeah, and we don't like that.
No,
we live in the South. We think it should be warm.
It was really, really cold last night. Well, it was not really cold.
Windy.
It was just very windy. So our wind chill got down to about 8 is where we wound up last night. Other places got down to 0.
Next week, it's supposed to actually be 8.
Yes. We're going to have a low of 8 and a high one day of 14.
On the whole property, the only one that will enjoy that is the Great Pier. She thinks that's the best of weather.
She loves cold weather. I like cold weather too. I just don't like to have to be out barking in it.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about, let me go ahead and switch screens here. This is going to be interesting. We've never done this before either. So here we are. This is our Radio Tiny House page on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. We'd love it if you do that. And hit that bell to get notifications of when we've got new videos popping up. And this is a new video.
Yeah.
Episode 21 of Radio Tiny House, which in and of itself, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
3 years in a Tuff Shed. That's how many people have lived in a shed for 3 years?
Well, I know
probably a lot.
I know. We interviewed DeLynn Shelton.
Yeah.
It was our first interview. And we she had lived in hers at I think she said 5 years.
I think
I think
too.
she was a little ahead of us. And that's the one I said porch envy, because our house still looks this way. This was taken pretty soon after we completed it.
Yeah.
And still looks this way, but I don't have the front porches that I want. But we'll get there.
Well,
when you live debt-free, try to live debt-free like we do, you just wait and have to save your money.
And when you're paying with cash for everything, then you
have
know
to save up.
and then life happens too.
Yep.
I mean, Europe calls, and
Yep.
well, not lately, of course, with COVID, but
No.
so this is our house. You've
Yep.
probably seen it. It has gone viral. It's about 2 million times now.
Yeah, it's so weird to be on Facebook and see my house come through in somebody else's. In fact, we have a Facebook group, and one of the guys that joined us is a Tuff Shed dealer, and he's got my house, our house as his profile picture.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
like, I sent him a note. I'm like, it's kind of weird to see my house as your profile picture, but it's kind of fun.
It is. It's very fun. I think it's, you know, thankfully, because of where we live, very few people know where we live, and it's not, you know, it's not really on the way to anywhere.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of
so we
drive-bys.
don't have a lot of drive-bys, but
We do try to keep ourselves a little bit private.
Yes, a little bit.
But it's a little hard when you're going viral. But yeah, we love living in it. As you can see, we have, and I'll just talk a little bit about what the front of the house looks like. And you'll see a little boo-boo that happened along the way of our building. But these are not Tuff Shed windows.
Do they make a Band-Aid big enough for that boo-boo?
Yes, and you'll see it. These are windows that just are Home Depot windows. The top, well, the three smaller ones, and the big window that we found in somebody that was off Craigslist or something, and it was really inexpensive compared to what it would cost to replace it. And then we chose the dark gray. I actually wanted darker gray, but they didn't offer it. But we chose the dark gray, and then of course the aqua door. And honestly, that's what I think pops. And then people are saying, what color should I paint my door in some of these groups? And I'm like, do something fun.
I've seen a couple of people that have said that they painted their door the same color as our door.
Well,
so
that's a compliment.
That Beth is a trendsetter.
Yeah, I am. And then, of course, one of the things when you're living small as a professional organizer, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but keeping the amount of different colors down makes the feeling of a lot of different things minimized. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the kitchen where we've got the open shelving and that kind of thing. Because if you're living small and you're trying to minimize all the look of your clutter, I have to say this as an organizer, keeping the volume of color down, the numbers of colors. So as you see, we're all in the blues and the grays and the, got a little touches of pink, but mostly, simple colors.
Well, we don't like our colors to be too busy.
No.
This is simple colors and looks nice. Even from a guy's perspective who smokes cigars out on the front porch there, it's a nice looking house.
And when we get the upper deck front porch done, he'll really be happy. We have the porch debate rages about how that porch is going to look.
It will look nice when it's done, and
we'll you'll love it.
And do
however we do it.
Double porches.
We'll see.
So anyway, this is a Tuff Shed model TR 1600.
Go ahead.
It may not be available. I don't even.
It's 16 by 24.
Okay, 16 by 24.
And it has 2 floors.
Yes, it does. You can see that from the picture. But I meant
like 2 big rooms.
Well, a lot of people may not be watching on YouTube. So if you're listening to us on, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Podbean or anything like that, I would encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel and watch this video, because it's, if you haven't seen our house before, I think you'll find it pretty interesting if you're looking for a shed house,
inexpensive house or cabin.
If not, we'll try to go through some descriptions that won't be too terribly boring.
Yeah.
But it's a Tuff Shed TR 1600 model. Beth heard a rumor yesterday, and we have not verified this. I'm going to try to do that in the next couple of days. I'm just going to call Tuff Shed.
Yeah. Well, we got lots of Tuff Shed people we can ask.
That's for sure. The TR 1600 model is not going to be available for 2021, but it is going to come back in 2022. And I don't know why that would be.
I think it's lumber shortages and them trying to appease a lot of people, right? I'm sure they've already got contracts out for lumber.
Right.
So if they can build a lot of smaller buildings, they'll do better than if they build. And this, I think you had heard this is their number 1 seller, bestseller. And of course, I take responsibility.
Well, of course, we should, because, we're
and
2 million shares.
Right.
So, and DeLynn. We got to throw DeLynn in there, too.
Right.
She has a beautiful home.
Yeah, you need to look at it.
So, that's another video you should watch if you haven't watched. But so this is our house. This is obviously just the front of the house.
And for those of you who can't see it, it's a salt box.
It is a salt box with a metal roof.
And gray. And then it's got an aqua door, and it's
white
just
trim.
Super simple. And it's kind of a shaker looking building. And that's what we wanted.
Yep. That's exactly what we wanted. So moving on. So when we bought our property, we had the idea of building a family compound.
Right.
And we did that in a way. We were inspired to build tiny house number 1. I'm going back to this for a minute. Tiny house number 1 by this picture.
Right.
And let me get back to that picture because
it's important.
It's important.
Sadly, this is an architect, and I've had this for, I don't know, picture for like 5 years, and I can't give attribution to whomever did this. I just had it in my phone, and I wanted you'll see, this was the inspiration for our first house, Tiny House 1. And I thought it was important to talk about what our process of why we chose a Tuff Shed, because we had built the equivalent of this house again without the porches.
Right.
I saw this picture and I was just mesmerized by this house. And so this was going to be our house.
It was.
But we ended up gifting that to our daughter, and she lives there now. But we, again, the goal is more porches.
Right.
We've got somebody lined up to do those porches, but we just have to gather our money. Anyway, so that you'll see again, it's a simple shed-shaped roof. Oh, he's turning off my notifications on my phone. It's a simple roof, except with just a simple dormer. And the more simple you can keep your roof line, the less expensive it is.
Exactly.
And the other thing I want to point out is both of our houses have light roofs because we live in the South. And why would you have a black roof?
Why would you have a black asphalt roof in the South?
In the South. So we have light reflective roofs to keep the heat out of our houses.
Right. And they work really well.
Yeah.
All right. So this was the inspiration for tiny house number 1.
Right. And there it is.
And here it is. The clouds look a little bit like smoke coming from something, but I assure you, those are clouds. That was no fire.
That was just a snap as I came up the driveway. The sun was coming in, and it was just so pretty. So you can see kind of the orientation. We have tiny house 1, minus porches, but they'll come. And our daughter loves red, so her doors are red. And you can see peeking behind that house is our house, our Tuff Shed. And that's kind of how we're sitting on our 3 acres of property.
Right.
We wanted to keep the family compound small and the acreage as big as we could.
As big as we could. That's right. Which is why one of the other reasons why we bought land and decided to go tiny, other than the fact that we'd wanted to do it for a while, is that we wanted to have outdoor spaces.
Yeah.
So we can have, fire pits. We can have a grain silo party area or whatever
we get
want
that far, yeah.
Whatever we want to have, because we've got land enough to do that.
Yeah.
So this is the famous floor plan.
I cannot tell you how many people have asked us for our floor plan, and I finally dug it out. And you can see this is just a snap with a phone that I was taking to send to the plumber. Right? Because I honestly, this is how, and we also turned this into our county for our building.
That's
plan.
Exactly right. We did. We used this to get approval for our building.
Yeah. And now if you notice the floor plan, what's not on here exactly is the staircase. But so the downstairs was on the lower side, and it's a 16 by 24, as we talked about. And for folks who can't see this, it's got the kitchen on the lower left.
Lower left corner is an L.
Just an L. And the kitchen sink faces out the front window. We have a fridge, and then we actually switched these. I have a washer dryer. I was going to use a stackable washer dryer out by the back door, but we opted to do a 1-unit LG
washer dryer combo.
Right. And so those are actually flipped. That washer dryer has moved into the kitchen on the other side of the fridge. So it's just in our kitchen. And honestly, people who come to our house never notice it.
Nope.
It looks like a dishwasher to them, kind of. And so we've got a dishwasher on one side and the of the kitchen of the L, and on the other end of the L, we have the washer machine. And people just don't even see it.
No, they don't.
It's kind of, a lot of people like, you've got your washer in your kitchen. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the best place for it.
It is. And it's a very European thing to do. When we were in Scotland, one of the reasons we decided to go with the single washer dryer unit was because the apartment that we were staying in Edinburgh had a single washer dryer unit, and it was quiet. It did everything in one load. You didn't have to get up, from
to
switch, and it was very nice.
Yeah. Now we have an LG, and I don't know that I would do that again. I don't know if it's LG, but we've had some challenges because we're on a well. We've had some, when you're in a well, sometimes you get sediment, and we've had some sediment problems. Luckily, oh my gosh, thank goodness we've got the 5-year warranty from Home Depot, because they keep coming out. They've had to come out three times
and replace the water intake
and
valve
so finally
in the
put a
washer.
filter on it. But when it screws up, it floods.
Yeah.
And we hated our floors to start with, and now because it's flooded, we really hate our floors. So we're going to have to fix that, sadly. But anyway, so if you can see on that lower part, that's the kitchen, and then it's just one big room, 16 by 24.
Right.
And you can see the big criteria for us is we had to have 2 places to go to the bathroom.
Right.
In our house.
So under the stairs, there's a half bath.
Right.
And then upstairs, there is in the, if you're looking at and if you're looking at it, you can see it. If you're not looking at it, on the floor plan, it's on the upstairs. It's in the upper left corner is a full bath. Now, the toilet and of course, these were just drawings that we did, but the toilet we had to move to where the double sinks were because of space problems and code issues.
Right. So we had to meet code, but this is just your standard 5 by 7 bathroom that you see in every house.
Yep.
Like, for the kids' bathroom, and that's what we're in. And we, it works for us. Some of the things are just slightly different, and you'll see those in our pictures. But now you can see I've written downstairs and upstairs, but right where I've written that, if you're looking at the photo, that's where our stair run is. It goes up the back of the house, and there's a turn for 2 steps. So it runs up the back. I had to have a 3-foot landing in front of the bathroom.
Right.
So we had to shorten the stair run by turning it and on a landing and coming out into the living room a little bit. I have a snap of that somewhere. I couldn't find it when I was doing this, but just to know that it is doable to run it up that way.
And if you'd like a copy of this, for any reason,
floor plan?
Beth will be happy to sell you the floor plan.
I don't know. I'd have to fix it again. I'd have to make it right. But anyway, I was listing this out for the plumber. Oh, by the way, you can see our well is 98 feet away. Our septic is 90 feet away.
Right.
So we tapped into the septic we already had for Tiny House 1, and we already had the well drilled. And we talked about before, Barry is a great dowser if you need to employ one.
I can find water.
He can find water. All right.
Moving on. So the construction phase kind of went like this. We had a great guy come out and do our foundation, our crawl space for us. They came out, and it had been freezing cold, and our Georgia clay is hard as a rock when it's really cold, and those guys dug a foundation
by hand.
In basically clay that was like concrete.
Right.
And once that got done and cured, the concrete cured, we had Tuff Shed come out, and of course we had to have it inspected. Right. Then Tuff Shed came out and started their process. So they got,
I wanted to find the other picture. I'm going to back up and say what you can't see on here, and I didn't find it when I was trying to do this, but there's as you can see, they're adding it almost looks like a pallet floor or whatever, like a enclosed floor, but there is a beam that runs
down
lengthwise along the thing to give it extra support and some extra concrete blocks. So it's not a 16-foot span with no support in the middle.
Yes, there is a metal laminated beam, I guess it is.
No, I think it's just a big
beam.
Yeah.
That runs
horizontally
this way.
Right.
Which you can see that.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I like this tool. That's cool.
There you go.
So anyway, Tuff Shed came out and they started doing this, and they got to about here, this second picture, the picture on your right. And we started having snow and ice.
Well, wait a minute, back up about here. And by the way, you can see those panels. That's how it comes. It comes in big panels.
Right.
And so that's why I wanted to put this picture on here, because you can see they pre-build parts of the wall and then they erect them on site. But yeah, the other thing that was important about here is when I looked out, because this happened really fast. As you can see, there's a truck in the background, or if you can't see, if you're listening, but they brought it on a flatbed, like a trailer. And it was freezing, as Barry mentioned. I was working up in our office, which we're in right now, and I peeked out because we had built Tiny House 1 and we were exhausted. We didn't want to have anything to do with this thing. I was like, just let them build number 2. Oh, by the way, you can see our goat barn back there. But anyway, so I peeked out and I went, wait a minute. I don't see any house wrap on that thing. Yeah, that was a problem. Yeah. We had ordered it and Tuff Shed didn't remember to put it on.
They didn't. That's right. So there was an interesting solution that we went round and round about with the county and with
Tuff Shed engineers
on what should be done to solve that problem. Because in our county, you have to have house wrap.
You should have house wrap.
Yeah, you should have house wrap. So moving on to the next one, I think we'll see the solution to it. So the picture on the left is them almost finished.
And if you can't see it, it looks like our house without windows and doors and no roof.
Or no roof. Well, there is a door. There's the door.
That's true. The door's in.
But this was just in the middle of construction. And then the picture on the right shows what they did for the solution.
Yes.
So what Tuff Shed and the county and we agreed to was that they would leave the first layer of siding intact where it was on the house. And they would wrap the siding with Tyvek or whatever that stuff is, house wrap. So then put up a second layer of siding. So they had
to rip all the trim off.
Right.
As you can see, there's trim already on there, but because it took a little while for everybody to figure out what we were going to do, so they had to rip all the trim off, wrap the building in wrap.
Right. And they literally just wrapped over the windows and the doors and then came back and cut them out.
Right.
And then put up a second layer of siding. So the house is kind of bulletproof. I mean, it's pretty heavy duty. We don't hear anything. So
it has OSB,
right?
Then it has whatever brand of this, not LP Smart Side. I don't know what Tuff Shed uses exactly, but it's a 50-year kind of guaranteed siding. And then it's got wrap,
right?
And then it's got another layer of siding,
right? So with our 2x6 construction and our insulation and sheetrock, we don't hear much.
No, the inspector came in at the end to do our final inspection, and he said, "Beth, listen." I'm like, "What do I hear?" Because I thought he was going to tell me there was something wrong.
Right.
He said, "This is the quietest house. You don't hear anything." I'm like, "Yeah, that's my secret is 2 layers of siding." But anyway, the thing about Tuff Shed, and we are not sponsored by Tuff Shed. We laughed and said we ought to be. I can't imagine how many houses they've sold. They have this up in there. We gave them permission to use our information in a blog, and that sort of took legs. And I certainly don't mind because, we want people to be able to do what we did if they can. But, the experience was good in the sense that they have engineers and they worked with the county. And because we had not built something like this before, that was very helpful.
Right.
We had to do some extra bolting it to the foundation. The engineers in the county, Tuff Shed worked together. This was one of the first ones that this region had done as a house.
Right. And it was the first one in our county that was done as a house.
So they had to work through some things. But anyway, they were very good about doing that.
It was. I have to say, Tuff Shed was great. They're everybody from their local sales rep to the installers to the management guys that we dealt with on a couple of warranty issues, and they're pretty quick to come out on the warranty issues.
They would guarantee the building for life. I don't know whose life, but somebody's life.
Somebody's life.
And so, we've had them come out to do a couple of little things, and they've been very available. And now I don't know how available they are during COVID. I've heard people having trouble getting in touch with Tuff Shed because I think they're overwhelmed. Who knew that we need toilet paper? Right. Who knew Tuff Sheds? We're going to be the big.
That's right.
And real estate. All right.
Well, the one thing that COVID has done is I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes, and there's a lot more awareness now, not only of tiny homes, but also of shed homes. and that you
Well,
don't have
different
to live.
living.
Yeah, you don't have to settle for a house in the suburb if that's not what you want.
Right. Wait, before you turn, if
Okay.
you're watching, I'm trying to use some of these photos to do kind of a little bit view of our property, but you'll also see the Shoffas up there on the hill, and that little window is exactly where we are.
Yes, as this we are right here.
there today. Keeping warm.
So moving on, let's see.
Now we're downstairs.
Now we're in the house.
In the house.
And this is obviously construction is obviously done here.
Yeah, it was magic.
It was magic.
It just happened
Beth just snapped her fingers and like on Bewitched or WandaVision, you just boom.
Boom.
So this is the kitchen. This is the in most houses, in the two houses that we've redone, we've put farmhouse sinks in both of them.
And both of them are IKEA.
Yeah.
We love IKEA sinks.
And so we had to have a farmhouse sink in this one.
Yeah. And so what I wanted to, well, obviously I wanted to talk a little bit about the kitchen cabinets, and we have a long shot of the kitchen, but these are IKEA cabinets. And one of the things that we did to keep it light feeling is that we have the walls painted white. And if you'll notice, our cabinets do not have this. Our cabinet sides are white.
Right.
We did not put, there's IKEA has special side panels, so everything's gray. And I felt that would look really heavy up there. So just the doors are gray and the sides are white. And I don't know that I've ever seen anybody else do that, but it felt like it made the things hanging on the wall not so big and heavy.
Right. Not look quite so heavy.
Right. And then we wanted to put some extra open shelving in it to kind of give it that cottagey, not really farmhousey, it's more cottagey looking. Right. And so we ordered these brackets off of Amazon, and when I got them,
and the brackets are actually hand hammered.
Right.
We didn't buy any machine made.
Right.
Stuff.
We actually have a blacksmith friend, and I was going to get him to do them, and he's like, you can buy them cheaper off of Amazon than I can make them. So we did. And then we also have the tall sprayer farmhouse sink faucet here that we really enjoy. But we cook a lot. We're at home a lot. We don't always get to our dishes, true confession. So having a deep sink to hide that clutter is really important to me as somebody who is overstimulated by clutter.
The other story about this I want to tell is the lamp that's hanging over the sink.
You shouldn't tell that story.
We bought the lamp at IKEA.
We needed it
because we knew we were having a photo shoot, and it looked kind of bare over the sink. So we went and got this lamp.
Well, we knew we were going to do it,
but we didn't attach it to anything. And we had the photo shoot, and about 6 months went by before we finally went, we probably ought to do something about that lamp.
So yeah, that looks really good.
I love that lamp.
But it took us a little while. So let's go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one. And,
that's
white
not
out.
Supposed to be there. That's a bathroom shot.
Well,
skip it. Skip it. That's a boo-boo.
We do not have the bathroom in the kitchen.
We do not. Sorry, that was a boo-boo.
This is a shot of, you can see the dishwasher. If you're looking at this, the dishwasher is the silver box that's on your left, and the clothing, the washer dryer is the silver box that's on your right.
Right. But as I said, people don't even ever notice it. No. And then they go, well, you have a washer in here. So the thing I wanted to talk about a little bit here is the fact that two things I want to talk about. The plain boards that we used for the open shelving, I wasn't sure how that was going to work out back in that corner. But it works fine. It's just an empty corner. There is a little bit empty real estate between the shelf and the cabinet. And if you can't see this, guys, I'm sorry. But it's basically we have open shelving tucked into a corner behind a corner cabinet. But the other thing I want to talk about is simplifying the colors. If you're using open shelving, if you'll notice, I only have white or white and black. And I have that little touch of color at the top. But if you get a lot of color and jumble, I mean, if you have Fiesta dinnerware and you want to display it that way, that's fine.
Right.
But for me, because I tend to be a little bit, clutter stimulates me in a negative way. I need it to be simple. So we use white cups, white plates, and all those things in order to keep it simple. And then the color palette is sort of subtle. grays and browns and, light browns and stuff. And interestingly enough, we were going to epoxy our countertops.
We were
white. But when I got the this is just plywood.
Yeah, it's just plywood that we
doubled
up and put what did we put on it? Some kind of
just like sealer. But honestly, when we put them in there and then we had the open shelves and they kind of matched, I really just love the simple natural look of the wooden stuff. They're not even butcher block, they're just plywood. And it feels a little bit more modern than a butcher block.
Right. We redid a house in Louisiana, and we put butcher block all over as countertop all over the kitchen, and it looked nice. But when I go back and look at pictures of it now, because that was some years ago,
we want to talk about.
The kitchen is the same kitchen that we put in.
They just sold that house, and it popped up.
They've still got the butcher block countertop, and it just looks a little dated to me. I don't know. So but I like the clean lines. I like how it's a simple kitchen. It's easy to work in. We do have a pop of color with the soap on the sink. I like that blue.
Dawn.
Dawn, yes. We are not sponsored by Dawn dishwashing.
Right. And if we ever decide, because I have mixed feelings about our 1-unit washer dryer. If we ever decide that we need to do something else, I've thought about just putting a stackable right there. That's why we haven't decided what to do with that section. That'll feel really heavy to me. So I don't know yet. But I don't know, maybe flip the switch, flip this fridge. I can't say that. I don't know. But anyway, we do, we do change things from time to time, and it's okay.
We do. We are frequent
changers. Not so
renovators.
Much lately.
No.
Not so much lately, because we kind of got that out of our system. But now we're doing the office, and I'm taking forever to do that. Anyway, you can see there's just a little bit of real estate between the shelf and the next cabinet, but I think it looks fine.
Yep.
I was just nervous that it wasn't going to touch. And, you don't see cabinets that way very often.
Right. But it looks good. Yeah. And it's totally functional.
Totally functional. Oh, by the way, I'm also a little crazy about outlets in the kitchen, and my electrician knew it, and I think he went a little overboard. You can see there's one on one side of the coffee pot and one on the other side of the coffee pot.
We do have a lot of
electric outlets. Mm-hmm.
The pantry.
Yeah.
So, well, Beth decided that she had to have a pantry. We were originally going to put it. I'm not going to go back at all, but next we were going to originally put the washer dryer here,
right?
And then we were going to put the pantry in the kitchen. But when we got the single washer unit, that worked better, and this gives us more space to be able to have a pantry. So not only do we have storage down on the bottom and shelves on top, we have a nice shelf in the middle that you can see a toaster there, and there's a NutriBullet, something like that there.
Right. And then, it's right by the back door. See the light switches there. That's the back door.
That goes to the back door.
But we feel like we always want to keep about some food on hand. We don't ever want to run out of food. So having a cabinet for us is just not enough. So we have number 10 cans up at the top that are just, they don't have labels on them. And then I had these IKEA, they're Alpha shelving drawers. We had them somewhere else, and so they happen to fit perfectly in the space. Now, I've talked about putting a freezer in the bottom down there, but every freezer I found was like an inch too long.
Right.
So we don't have a freezer there. And, we really kind of do need this space. So
the freezer will have to be
the freezer up here in the office. But anyway, we put in a can light, and it works really well for us to have a pantry.
Other thing I want to point out.
But it is open, by the way. It doesn't have
doesn't have a door.
That wall sticks out a little bit.
Right.
So it's not too obvious.
The thing I also want to point out is that Beth is a little obsessed with labeling things sometimes.
Yeah.
So everything in the pantry is labeled. So all those white things that you see on the shelf, it's about the second shelf up if you can't see it. And it's sugar containers that we just buy when we go to the grocery store when we buy sugar. And she painted them white on the outside and then labeled them for whatever else was going to be in them. So we put chocolate chips in them.
Yes.
We put flour, sugar, all that kind of stuff in them.
Yeah, I can't help it. It
And
has to be neat.
Then you'll see our number 10 cans up here are also labeled.
With no label. They're labeled with hand labels, but they
Yes.
don't have like color on them. I can't stand
But
it.
that way, that's kind of nice because you don't have to have bags of stuff laying around.
Right.
And you know, when you're looking for something, you know exactly what's in them.
And true confession, through COVID, because we don't go to the store very often, that pantry is not that neat right now.
No, it's not.
It is stacked with food.
It is indeed.
Thank goodness we can do that.
All right, moving on from the pantry.
Yep. We don't have a picture of your bathroom. It's too hard to get a good picture of it.
It
so
is.
sorry.
It's
under the
just
stairs.
A toilet and a sink.
And
my changing table from when I was a baby.
Right.
That my mom and dad kept for all these years, and it had tools in it for a while, and then they gave it to us, and we've had TVs on it and stuff like that. And now it's a sink basin.
Right. And it's a big farmhousey kind of sink because we didn't know if we wanted to wash hair or dogs or whatever downstairs. Kids. Right. So it's a big sink. But anyway, now we're in the living room.
Yes. So this is looking from the stairs
right
into the kitchen. And you can just see it's one large room. It's living room, kitchen, dining room.
Yep.
Open, very open, and easy to live in and easy to get around in. So, and it's comfortable. It's, you're getting stuffy again. I don't know why. It's the heater.
Yeah. You can blame it on something. I don't know. Poor Barry. He struggles with allergies.
But, it's just a wonderful place to live and work when we need to.
Yep.
All right. We have moved some furniture around since this picture was taken.
No, we haven't.
Yeah,
that thing is over somewhere else.
Elephant lamp is gone.
Yeah. Oh, we're back in the
back
kitchen.
To the kitchen.
I did
done a weird job.
I did do this a weird job. I'm sorry. So yeah, this I guess the picture here shows one of the things that we felt like we needed was a decent corner cabinet because crawling way back because we have to maximize every bit of storage in this little house. So we used IKEA provides this big turntable thing that goes back in the corner, and so I just kind of wanted to share a shot of that. We thought honestly, it's one of the best things I have ever done.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine having to crawl back in the deep recesses of that without that.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah. There it is.
Hey, there's the washer. And
it's an LG.
It's an LG, which is my favorite brand of appliances.
Somebody somewhere I saw said something about a lawsuit about LG. I just saw that yesterday. I don't know. I don't know.
Somebody's always suing somebody.
That's true.
So this is we do have a gas stove and oven.
That's a good point.
Which is important because we live in an area that we do occasionally get power outages. So we have lots of pine trees.
And fall over when ice gets in the tops of them.
Yes, it's crazy. And so we do have the ability to cook and to keep the house warm if it's winter.
Oh, shoot. I forgot to put a picture of our
the fireplace.
Well, we're kind of in the middle of fixing it. So once I get that done, we'll
put some pictures up.
And
then, of course, we have bourbon.
Well, that's important.
Yes, it is, actually.
For Barry. All right. Anyway, gas stove backup, which is backup heat, and then gas oven
cooktop.
and cooktop.
Right. So, but here's just the single washer dryer, which both has its pluses and its minuses.
And I think it has laundry in it.
Oh, it does have laundry.
I think it does. I'm seeing that.
Thankfully, no unmentionables. Oh, upstairs now. So,
and I don't know why this is kind of showing up blurry. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Looks a little grainy on my
It does
screen.
Look a little grainy. This may have been taken with an old iPhone.
No.
Who knows?
This is one of our professional ones, but it shouldn't be showing up this way. Sorry.
So we had to bump out room for the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
you saw it on the floor plan.
Yes, you
and
did.
Here it is.
So the room on the opposite end is actually much wider than this and where our bed is. But just again, Beth designed this and just a great use of space, I think. It's easy to get around in. There's no the kids leave clutter occasionally.
Yeah.
But
we try.
It's basically a clutter-free, open space.
Yep.
And it's just very comfortable.
So I measured the nightstands we had, and I measured the bed, and I measured, to make sure that little nook would work. And it does, but we have like 2 inches of extra space. So sometimes Barry mutters at me that he can't get his bed made or tucked in. But, we just didn't have a lot. So when you're building tiny, sometimes just inches matter.
That's right. So what we didn't take into consideration when we did this was the width of the bed and both nightstands.
Well, we did, but I forgot to count the depth of drywall.
Right.
You can see we have pretty thick baseboards, so that takes up some space.
It does.
Oops.
And we haven't finished the baseboards up there, which we need to do. But yeah, so in here between the wall and the nightstand, there's just a
tiny bit of room.
Tiny bit of room, and between the bed and the nightstand, there's also tiny bit of room, and it's the same on the other side.
Right.
So it's
but inches matter.
Inches matter, and it fits perfectly.
Yeah. Luckily.
Yeah. Luckily, we didn't have to take the saw to the nightstands.
We
did paint them, but
yeah.
So this is whiteout conditions here.
Yeah, it's just not showing up as well as it did on my
phone.
Computer.
So this is the bathroom, and you can see that Beth did all the tile work herself.
Yes, I did.
And
we have a better shot of it. So
okay,
you'll be able
so
to,
I'll
just skip this one.
All
It's
right, we're
kind of
gonna
blurry.
skip this one. Pretend you didn't see that one. So according to Beth, this is the cutest sink in the world.
No. It's the world's cutest.
Cutest sink.
Right.
Yes. So we got this at IKEA, and we had to have we knew it was going to be a tight space. You couldn't put a regular sink here. So we went to IKEA, and Beth saw this sink, and she said, "This is the cutest sink in the world, the world's cutest sink," whatever she said.
Right.
So we bought that, and
it looked a little odd there without the faucet on it. But I just thought, we needed a corner sink because when I figured out the way I wanted to do it, the bathroom, you have to have a certain amount of space to stand up, and I didn't want the toilet in a certain place, and we were trying to keep plumbing all right and blah, blah. So we felt like we were going to use a corner vanity. So we had this I had gifted my sister-in-law something, and I had swiped the legs off of an old coffee table, like a 90s coffee table. And you can just barely along the bottom see, but anyway, I told Barry we were going to make this into a vanity, and it looked like I was nuts because it was that old maroony looking kind of
thick fake wood.
Right. Those old 1980s or 90s coffee tables. Anyway, so we chopped that thing. I put the blue tape on, and Barry got the saw out, and we chopped it into a corner vanity, put 2x4s underneath it just to support it in the back. It's got this nice detail in the front. And then we painted it gray and stuck this sink on. And once we got the faucet on, it was so cute.
Yeah, it is. It's a great sink. It's when the kids wash their hands in it, they get water everywhere because it is a small basin. The one downstairs in my bathroom, they could swim in if they wanted to.
Right.
But it's perfect for that space. And you can see we've got shiplap up on the wall.
Right. That was our one little splurge because shiplap then was expensive 3 years ago. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't even. I think it's like $10 or $20. I don't even know what it is a board right now. It's crazy.
It is ridiculous.
Okay. Next. See, this is just not. It's just not coming out very well. It looks great over there.
Well, it looks great over there. It doesn't look good on that monitor. So we have all of our ducks in a row, as you can see.
Yes. And you can see the very edge of the coffee table.
Yes,
turned into vanity,
and the tub, which is a
subway tile,
in the toilet.
And what you can't see in here unless I have another shot is that I didn't want to cut subway tile because it's beveled, so I took and put a band of vertical tile in around the top. So I went all the way to the ceiling. So I just wanted to make it easier on myself.
Yeah, it looks very nice. Well, that was a quick one. And this is the bedroom again. This is looking the opposite way from the bed. So Beth had her desk up there.
Yep, I work there.
A couple of antique.
And our closet is in the back niche.
Right.
So
We'll see that in a second.
yeah, but I
So
just want to get them oriented. So you can't, doesn't have a door.
Right.
Well, you
It's
can't
just
see anything.
It's an
in
open
it.
closet.
It's just an open closet, but you can't see it because it's way at the other
Right.
end.
Yep. So this is just the total space.
Got to have a big giant TV.
Well, you have to have a big giant TV because if we sit in the bed and watch TV, it's a mile away from us.
Right. It's 16 feet away.
Yeah. So actually, no, that's 24 feet away.
Oh, that's right. Said that wrong.
Over to the left, you can see there's where the wall stops. That's where the closet is, and I think that's the next picture.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? But this is the carpet that we purchased at a rug, I should say, at an auction that we used to go to every so often when we were building this house. We'd go to an auction. It was Gallery 63 in Atlanta,
right?
And they had a TV show called Auction Kings,
and we were on it.
We were on it.
Buying
Actually,
this carpet
3 times we were on it. When we bought this carpet, we were bidding on it, and they took pictures of us bidding on it. But when they edited the show, they had us bidding on not this Oriental rug, but on a Saab race car.
Yeah,
which was one of the loudest things I've ever heard. And I'm a drummer and spent a lot of time in rock and roll, but we were not bidding on the Saab race car.
No, the magic of television editing.
That's right. Bid on a boring carpet.
Right, bid on a boring carpet. But we didn't even know we were on the show, and our friends started sending us these pictures on Facebook, I guess, or whatever. Is this you?
Is this you? Did you get the car?
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
So here's the closet. And again, the stuff is labeled.
Well, yeah, that's me.
That's Beth.
And again, we're trying to keep the colors simple, even though Barry's got like an orange shirt in our clothes, But
well, clothing is different.
Clothing is different. You can't just have all the same color, although we tend to do that. But anyway, so yeah, just a simple closet, no door, but it's niched back deep enough. It's a 3-foot niche because of the stairs that it doesn't interrupt us.
Right.
And I felt like a closet door would make it feel really kind of tight in there.
Yeah.
So we just left it open.
I like the open look of it. And the clothes are neat and tidy. And they, they're clothes.
They're clothes.
Anything else about the closet?
Oh.
Okay. Oh.
My labels.
Her labels. Handwritten, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. And that's just us.
This is us. This is some pictures that we had done, and this is a great picture of the whole fam, our 2 daughters and all 3 of our grandkids. And the photographer was trying to get everybody to laugh, and she couldn't get our 2 granddaughters to laugh. And then Aiden, our grandson, who's in the middle, said something absolutely hilarious that just cracked everybody up. I don't even remember what he said, but it was just such perfect timing. And so the photographer took the picture. So this is us
sitting on our sofa that you just saw,
right?
Sitting there with the elephant lamp that you just saw,
right?
In our house.
Yep. And we have gatherings.
We do
with the whole family. Not as much during COVID.
No.
Is that the last picture?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Well, we're switching back to us, so you can see us live and in person.
Yeah. So, we have enjoyed living here. It's small.
It is small.
768 square feet. Our daughter, as you know now, Tiny House 1. She lives there with her 3
kids.
Little ones. Someday we'll probably add on to each house. I try to tell people living tiny, you don't get medals for living tiny, because some people are like, can you put 14 people in a tiny house? I'm like, why would you want to do that?
Well, you can,
I suppose. But we built the shed, had no idea that we were doing anything except expedient for ourselves, had no idea it was going to go viral and would spawn a whole world. I mean, there's another shed group on Facebook that's been functioning longer than ours that has 78,000 people in it.
Yes.
Or 81 or whatever the number is today. Barry and I get about 100 people a day into our group because people want the opportunity to live inexpensively figure out how to create something that they want. They don't think it's going to cost as much as it did, by the way. Oh, I need to do my rule of thumb.
Do your rule of thumb, but don't hold up your finger. Hold up your thumb.
My rule of thumb. Everybody asks us how much our two things. What's your floor plan?
Right.
I just showed you. Number two, how much did it cost? Now, what it cost us was not the same as it would cost you.
Right.
But the outside shell of our shed 3 years ago cost a little over $20,000.
Right.
We had upgrades of various kinds. The roof, the metal, the pitch of the roof, the metal, the studs, the house wrap. I don't remember what else. Extra window.
Right.
The window install.
The windows.
There was no way I could have lifted that big giant window
No.
with you. So we added some things, and it cost a little over $20,000.
Right.
And when I wrote that check, it was a big gulp because we didn't finance it. We had been saving and, had liquidated some things. So we had a big gulp and wrote that check. But I did feel like there were that Home Depot would stand behind it, and Tuff Shed said it was 100% guarantee. So it wasn't like I was paying Joe Blow, the carpenter down the road, to do it.
Right.
And we had already lived through tiny house one, and that took us almost 2 years to complete, and we did not want to do that again. We were living in a camper. We were ready to have our own space, a camper, and I was camping. I was officing, if you will, in this shed.
Right.
So we were ready. We wanted something fast and done. And the Home Depot had like an ugly shed. It was like log cabin siding. I have a picture of it, I think, on our website. It was really ugly. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want. I want this. And anyway, so we designed this. And we don't really have any regrets about that at all.
No, the only regret that I have with the whole process is that we chose the wrong flooring.
We chose cheap,
and we've said that before. We were wanting to get into our house,
and we were getting
tight on money because we were spending cash for everything.
Right, and so we found the cheapest floors that we could, and the minute they get wet, they peel
and they're horrible.
They're terrible.
They're horrible. I don't even know who the manufacturer is.
No, we bought them at some outlet, and we'll never do that again. Anyway, so here's my rule of thumb. So we spent $21,000 for the shell. I think it's 21, and then we didn't do a really good job of keeping all the receipts. I have them. I just haven't added them up. That's a big job.
Right. Well, also we did opt for the everything from Home Depot had an e-receipt.
True.
So somewhere we
can find it, but we know how much we started with, and we know how much we ended up with. Right. So we have a general idea. So we think we have about just a little under $60,000 into our shed. Now, people who want to live in a shed, many people go, oh my God, that's way too much money. And there are people that are living in what we call drag and drops, or ready removables, that don't have as much money in them, but they also don't have the same amount of square footage. And so when you go look at a tiny house or you go look at a shed house, if people are honest about what they've spent, the rule of thumb is if you do the work yourself, it's going to cost you double what you paid for the outside.
Right.
So if the outside is $10,000 and you do the work yourself, it's going to cost you
now $20,000. But if you're talking about work yourself, that's plumbing, that's electrical,
that's everything.
That's everything. The installs of windows, doors, all that stuff is what you're doing.
Right. And that usually, those drag and drop sheds usually don't really have foundations. They might put down piers, but usually people are living on stacks of bricks.
Right.
And there's no insulation underneath, which is not a great way to do that. But anyway, so if you're doing that, you might be a little cheaper, but but if you get help like we did, and we ended up, remember, with 2 bathrooms, kitchen,
right.
Then it's going to cost you 3 times what the outside cost, which put us close to 60.
Right.
So I can't tell you what the numbers are now because lumber has gone crazy. But whatever you pay for the outside, and by the way, if Tuff Shed is stopping these, you might want to go buy if you want a Tuff Shed, you might want to go buy the ones that are still in the Home Depot parking lot right now. But anyway, if you use that rule of thumb, you won't be too far off.
Right.
Because remember, you got to cover all the stuff that you covered on the outside, you got to cover on the inside. So it's going to double it. Barry's doing something with clicking. What are you doing?
Just showing the house again.
Oh, okay. So anyway, that's us interviewing ourselves.
That is us.
We get a
interviewing
lot of
ourselves.
questions about our house, and we hope that you enjoyed it. And we are just under an hour,
We are just under an hour.
so we did good
Yes, we did. And of course, we were informative and fun
interesting.
and beautiful. Well, she's beautiful. I'm goofy looking.
That is not true.
All right. So thanks for listening to us.
Yes, and of course, if you have any questions, please comment
Yeah.
below, and we do watch those if you're on YouTube. If not,
contact us at radiotinyhouse@gmail.com.
or I think you can comment under podcast. I never do that.
You can podcast comment. Yes. Comment under the podcast as well. And you can listen to us anywhere you have your favorite podcast platform. And you can find us at radiotinyhouse.com or our group.
No, well, My Tuff Shed Home.
My Tuff Shed Home
is the
page.
easiest page, and then it'll route you to our group if you choose to wanted to join.
Yeah, if you just if you want to join the group, that's a great spot, and actually it's a good group because there's good interaction.
Yeah,
a lot of groups don't interact with each other, and this group does. But our page on Facebook, My Tuff Shed Home, is just a good place for information, pictures, sharing, questions, things like that. So,
yep.
And I think that is it. So we will see you
next week.
Maybe later this week.
We
may do 2 this week.
That
would be a bonus.
That would be a bonus.
Next week, we may be doing this from our house because it's supposed to be
8 degrees.
8 degrees next Tuesday morning. So
I don't know if I go out the door when it's 8 degrees. That's way past 5 degrees of comfort.
Yes.
It's like not anywhere near 5 degrees of comfort.
All right, but thanks for watching. Thanks for listening if you're on the podcast, and we will see you next week. Bye.